Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Galactic Astrology Podcast. My name is Ursula O'Farrell with the Ascension Playground, and I'm joined by the podcast co-host, Julia Balaz. Julia, as many of us know, is the creator, founder, and visionary for the Quantum Soul Guidance Practitioner's course. And today we are so excited to congratulate Lisa Brady for making it through and being officially certified today. Welcome, ladies, and congratulations, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yay. And so I am calling in from California in the United States. Julia is landing in from Ireland. And Lisa, we understand you're calling us in from Florida, also within the United States. So welcome, welcome. Today, to get our discussion going, we'd like to invite Lisa to share with us a little bit about her past, the path that she chose in this lifetime to begin with. Again, it's a soul's agreement to come and expand. So, Lisa, we'd love to hear about your story, your path, and also how you found Julia Balaz and her most amazing teachings about the galactic.
So I was raised Irish Catholic up in Boston. Usually that says a lot about that time period and how I was raised. It was a strict upbringing. I got a great education and I lived in the box of how to be and how things should be. And I did really well in school. I had a lot of talking too much issues and getting into trouble, and looking back, I'm like, was I really that, mischievous? I was ready to go. I was ready to run around the world and have a blast. And, that didn't quite fit. I became a mom really young, which went against everything Irish Catholic as a teenager, unwed. So that was fun. And it was the biggest blessing for me to have my child, my oldest son. And from there I had to work. So I went to work and I ultimately couldn't balance college and raising my son. So I had to put off my education and just make sure that he was taken care of. But fast forward a little bit, my calling for higher education really kept ringing out to me. And so I ended up getting into a wonderful program and I got my undergraduate degree. And by then I had two sons. So I got my degree as a single mother. It's definitely something I would encourage everybody to do if they're feeling called to get an education. There are ways to do that. And so I did that, continued my education from there and got my MBA. And I did this mostly because I had been a career woman working with high level companies, international brands, and wasn't getting the recognition or the pay that I felt like I should. And maybe if I got the MBA, this would justify and reiterate my level of experience in the corporate world. And so I did that and I went to work for the big banks and did really well by then having 4 kids. So I have 4 kids now, which I love them all, 3 boys and a girl, and bought a house. And then I started my own business about 5 years ago. But 5 years ago is really when I started to wake up to what am I really supposed to be doing here? Yes, I'm good at business. Yes, I'm good at being a mom, but something's missing. What is it? And so I started my journey of spirituality, which it started with crystals, essential oils, and then numerology and astrology, animals. So in the last 5 years, I've really been paying attention to those things, the things that I'm being called to and what those things mean, and how they bring me comfort and how they help me to find some clarity and answers to some of those questions that aren't always easy to get answers to. And so in the process of that, I found Julia through Pam Gregory, because I had been studying or alongside Pam Gregory with her regular forecasts. And I saw Julia one day months ago. I was immediately drawn to Julia and the work that she was doing. And at that particular moment, I wasn't quite ready to be signing up for her class, but it resonated so much. And I said, boy, if I could, there's a sense of, am I worthy? This kind of stuff happening in my head, and am I ready? So fast forward a few more months, I saw her again, and I said, this is it. Now I'm ready. And so I signed up. I'm so glad that I did. It's been so much more than I could have ever imagined signing up for her practitioner's course. And now I get to be here with you guys talking.
My goodness, so amazing. As you're sharing your story, I'm reviewing your Galactic Astrology Chart, your report. I just love when astrology is so beautifully reflected in the life stories, and what you're sharing, like, it's all there. So I believe Jupiter is your greatest blessing. You have a day chart, and I believe, oh my goodness, the timing of this. You're a new moon child, right? You're born on new moon, and it's Pisces new moon, which we just had a couple of days ago. So your sun and moon are both in high degrees of Pisces and in the 9th house. So for anyone not too familiar with astrology, 9th house is connected to higher education, spirituality, life's philosophy. So you have a natural affinity to pursue these things. And then with Venus in Aries in 10th house of career and leadership, with Aries there, also in high degrees. And then Jupiter, as I said, your greatest blessing in the 11th house, where you really have this kind of global reach, and in Taurus with a successful financial corporation. Like, I mean, it's all there.
Oh, good.
So beautiful.
Good. Yeah. And I agree with you, Julia. The validation of being able to look at that, even if it's later in life for me to finally be able to connect that, a lot of times we know our sun signs. So I was always the Pisces, and I couldn't understand where this drive was really coming from for me to be so go-getter in the sales and corporate arena. And then when I started learning astrology, I realized, well, I have a lot of fire in my chart. I have an Aries midheaven. This makes sense now. So it's beautiful and validating, and really can be a great guide for people. And the ninth house, like you said, some people say, you're always going to school. Aren't you ever done school? Well, no, apparently not. It's something that I enjoy and that I do, but it's also right there in my chart. So I'm okay with it. I'm definitely okay with it.
I think it's so beautiful that you're now activating the galactic aspects of your chart, because you have a lot of really powerful alignments, and in particular your North Node, where you're heading in your life's journey, is conjunct Arcturus fixed star at a very tight degree, only 0.28, and your North Node is in a 4th house of home, and in Libra. So I feel it's actually so beautiful that you are now building home-based business, but with a global reach, right? Is there a vision that you have for where you want this path to take you, and maybe others with you?
Yeah, that's really beautifully said, because I'm not by any means an expert, and definitely need to lean on my spiritual family, because everybody brings such great unique gifts that I wasn't sure how to really look at that 4th house North Node. I know I've done mastery in the Aries, but the Libra, but to connect it to a home-based business, that's beautiful, for sure. Except for I might want to have homes all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Jupiter in the 11th will continue to bring you blessings, as you will stay connected to the greater collective through online community.
Yeah, I believe that's happening. I've gotten some really beautiful blessings with connections in South Africa, Australia, Italy, Germany, Ireland, Canada, California, all over the globe. If I left any countries out, I apologize. But really, I see one nation under God, if you will, for our globe. I wasn't sure if I'd mentioned this, but I do have a son that went into the military, and when he left, it was right at the beginning of COVID. And so that's when I really started to look at the stars and really started to get into astrology and watching the moon phases and watching the constellations. And because for me, I felt like I could connect to him somewhere out there by the stars. And I definitely feel like my future does involve community-based outreach in spots all over the world with everybody in their special niches that can help people all over the world.
May I just mention one more energy that is totally going to be supporting this vision so beautifully and magically? It's your Neptune in Sagittarius in 5th house conjunct the great attractor. I feel as you choose to bring people together, 5th houses can often be activated through our creativity online, kind of being playful and also taking risks. But there's something about the 5th house and the 11th house that connects them. And I often see it through, leveraging online and social media in service to others. So when you align with all these beautiful visions that you have to help others in many ways, then the great attractor, which is a really powerful black hole or multitude of space anomalies that have very mighty magnetic energy that are drawing galaxies together. So if we allocate that in our charts, align with frequency of evolution, supporting evolution, we create this powerful magnetic energy that draws people to us. So you having it there might play in your favor as you do this.
Yeah, that's a key word, is play. I definitely feel like I'm being called to do work through play, whether that's music, dancing, painting, coloring, playing ball outside, running on the beach, just connecting back to some of the things that I and others really enjoyed as a child, because I think at that point, some of us get really misguided or programmed in a questionable way, or just connecting back to that level of play is a huge part of it. Now, doing that online, I definitely feel like I'd love to be near people in person. So I am counting on the universe to help me with that, to have it come in a way that is beneficial and effective. But
and balanced. Yeah.
I think it will all come out nicely.
I think this is your one of your first Zoom. So working with Zoom and learning how to connect globally, it's one of the beautiful advents of the technology, allowing for this, creating new social networks with soul tribes. And if I could just say, for the new listener to the podcast, what drew me, like Lisa, to astrology was, as a mother, to understand myself, yes, but to see the dynamic with my children and how best to guide them. And I was just doing it for more like, well, let's just test it to see, especially when your children hit the teenagehood and they just have no idea. And so working with anxiety or depression, somehow the astrology can offer a type of roadmap. And then Julia's layering of the galactic with these gorgeous fixed stars just brings a more holistic and even quantum base. You start looking at soul essence. And in fact, Lisa, when we look at your website in a little bit for the present time, I noticed that you wrote that your mission really is to assist people to reconnect to their own true soul essence. And it's interesting because I think essential oils, crystals, tarot, and akashic records can give us part of the dashboard, but somehow this astrology component, especially the galactic, just offers us a kind of language, a symbolic, metaphoric language. So for the new listener to the podcast, don't worry if you don't understand what does a north node in the 11th house mean, or how do you put the tea leaves together. If you start by taking Julia's Galactic Astrology 101 course, it's kind of a fun online, do it your own self pace. It's just you learning. But then when you jump into the practitioner's course, like I just went into the practitioners thinking I would just help continue to guide my own children and my family and friends, never thinking that I would actually love it so much to start sharing it as a certified professional. And I'm going to pause there to offer for current time now, Lisa, any comments behind that? I mean, did you also look at astrology kind of as a mirror to say, okay, I agreed to this really on a soul level? Like, did it really?
Well, yeah, you make an excellent point. The galactic aspects in astrology really helped validate the higher guidance for me, to learn about the royal stars, to see those in my chart, to validate that I am divinely guided. And when we go through hard times and we survive that, letting go of fear is really, really important, because fear keeps us stuck. And for me to believe that there was something bigger and better, not better, but that I knew I had galactic family. And that validated it for me, seeing it on the charts. And when I found myself falling into a space of worry or fear, I reminded myself, in that fear, I'm not with my spirit family. I'm not truly trusting in my purpose and my spirit, my higher self. So the galactic piece definitely validated a very positive piece for me. The inner solar system astrology kind of validated some of the harder times I've had in life, but the galactic showed me I'm going to be okay. This makes sense. This is who I am. And to then look at the galactic with my practice exams that I did, the charts, it's really interesting to see how people that are in my own personal inner circle, people that I love and adore, they have a lot of similar aspects to me and me to them. Whereas somebody who's not in my inner circle or family tends to have other aspects that I don't see as frequently. So I do believe we believe in chemistry and alchemy, and those things coming together. So for me to look at a chart now, I can easily go, oh, look, you have this and that, and it all makes sense.
Yes.
But I would definitely say, seeing these connections, the soul connections in people's charts, the ones that are near and dear to me, it validated for me that we're soul sisters, if you will, or soul brothers and sisters. And then for my own children, I have 4 of them. 2 of them are adults, so I don't spend a whole lot of time on their chart. I'll get to that. But my little kids, they're in elementary school. I'm able to see, just to give you a quick example, my little boy, I often get people tell me he's special. That little boy, there's something about him. And I say, God tricked me with the first 2 sons because they were super easy. This little boy is all over the place, but he's extremely smart. And I've ran into this situation in where they want to medicate my son. They want to medicate him. And I stand against that. I believe that diet and nutrition and all that can be worked with. He's gifted, and I can see it in his chart now. I can see from my father to me to him, all 3 of us have our ascendants on the same spot. And to see these aspects and to hear people say something about my son, I can see it in his chart. And I'm like, he is. And it just supports me as a mother to be able to say, no, there's nothing wrong with him. There's something wrong with the education system if you're not able to work with him and provide him accommodations. He may learn a little differently. He may express himself a little differently, but he's the future of this world. He's going to be taking over one day when I retire. And I think it's just beautifully validating, and I really enjoy it. And I look forward to looking at more people's charts. And if they're just even a few steps behind me, if I can give them a little bit of support and guidance through the process, then I'll be truly fulfilled with that. Because this ascension or waking up or connecting back to our true soul essence, it's not always easy, and it can be confusing. And validation is very, very important, especially if you come from a place where you were always invalidated, rejected or abandoned or abused or ridiculed or medicated or just shunned for being yourself. If you're coming out of that space, knowing that you're not alone and that you have a star family and you can see that, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's beautiful. And there's so many ways that we can get validations in our day to day, but in the galactic's a big piece of that. Animals as well is big for me. So I do have an animal totem, and when I really pray, I'll get answers through the animals. So everybody, I encourage everybody to go towards what attracts you, whatever you're attracted to, focus on that, especially like in Julia's course. It's a lot to sign up for that practitioner's course. And what I've told other students in the class is, feel free to bounce around. Julia encourages us to do that. Go to a section that resonates for you. If the astrology houses isn't making sense, skip to the next section, review it all. Really focus on what makes sense to you. And you can go back, and fill in the blanks later, because we have to have a little fun with this, right? Yeah. We have to. Otherwise, it's too much. So
I would love to share your website now, because your mind is so intelligent, and you just, you can hold past, present, and future all together. But I want people to see where your beautiful site is. And let's see, here we are. So it's lisabrady.org. And Lisa, when I'm on here, here's where you start talking and sharing a little bit about yourself and your story. And I love it when you say it takes a village. And then you also add, the Maya Angelou. I love, together we rise like a phoenix from the ashes.
Sure.
I love that part. Yeah. And then when people are on your site and they push this little square button, you can go to the Galactic Astrology readings. Here we go. So you offer them in English, Quantum Soul Guidance sessions. Here we are. Now, Lisa, are they going to be in Zoom? Are they reports? How are you setting yourself up for people who want to connect with you?
So at this point, I'm still being rather flexible with what works for the person and myself. I prefer to do a live Zoom. This way we can connect and do some energy exchange and get to know each other a little bit. I am able to put it into written format. It's not my first choice. And then I've had a lot of success on the phone as well. Just having a phone call with somebody and then following that up with a written report, or sending a written report first and getting on a call. And then, of course, I want this to be accessible to anybody. So I am working on donation bases right now, and also want to make sure that there's space for people that really need to connect, but may not feel like they have the funds. So that's why I don't have pricing there. If you feel called to work with me, just reach out via my website. At some point, with all of the connections I've made through Julia and in this community, I know a lot of the practitioners and what they focus on. And if it's not a great fit to work with me, then I am always happy to refer you to somebody else in our group who may be more in line with your energy and your background. So definitely reach out to me. I am asking anybody around the globe right now in communities, especially communities that are suffering with floods and segregation, violence, and all of that. The areas that we might try to shy away from, those are the areas that need support the most. So anyone from anywhere, reach out. If I can't help you, I will help you to find somebody that can help.
I want about your beautiful, generous heart and the offering that you just shared, and just kind of looking ahead into the future, speaking from my own experience. I recall when I was at that point too, when I was doing so many complimentary sessions and then by donation sessions, but there comes a time when you're so busy because you're so good and the word of mouth spreads fast, that at some point it'll not be physically possible to accommodate everyone, and you will have to set certain prices and certain availability. So anyone who is watching it early enough, you are up for a treat, and contact Lisa soon. Don't wait, don't hesitate, because that availability may start shrinking. And maybe there might be a longer waiting list than at some point, as it always happens. So
cool. And some of those people that are attracted to me will end up connecting to their own soul essence, and then being able to help others as well. And that's actually one of the outreach calls you had made, Julia, and then another practitioner, you both had said, I need help, because so many people were looking for the service. And I said, well, I can help. Let me get certified and I'll take on some of that for you. So the more of us that do that, then we'll definitely need to work together to stay grounded and, to support each other through it. But yeah, I will have prices soon enough, though.
Beautifully said.
Okay, good.
Well done.
Well, thank you so much. I feel like we covered your past, and I love that you engaged with Pam Gregory to meet Julia, and then your present with this beautiful website, and then your future with the comments about how to support the practitioners who are still learning and wanting to get certified, but also your generous donation-based offerings at this time. Any final thoughts, Lisa? Any mention of like an eagle that may have been flying around?
So I do like birds, and I do have an animal totem. These are real things. I didn't know what that meant. There was a point where I'm like, what does that even mean? How do I know what my animal totem is? As these animals cross your path at peculiar times, you start to figure it out. Like, I had a rat cross the street, a 6-lane highway in the middle of the day. I was like, that's not normal. That's a rat crossing your path. So you take out the book and you find out what the rats mean. And I had some ratty people around me at that time. But I do have the eagle that's coming around me right now. And this is a wonderful book by Ted Andrews. He's no longer with us, but he did an amazing job. I think this is the 49th print, the 49th edition of this book. And I go back to this often. And I know what my animal totems are now. I have 5 or 6 that I can say are my totem, but the eagle really has made its presence. It flew over me earlier today. It flew over me the other day at the park. We've been watching the bald eagles in California on a live stream at a park, friends at Big Bear Valley. Beautiful setup that they have for us to just tap into that quietness and watch these beautiful, magnificent species. But what Ted says about the eagle is, eagles are a symbol of great power, a power that goes beyond their actual size. To align oneself with eagle medicine is to take on the responsibility and the power of becoming so much more than you now appear to be. From a karmic aspect, it reflects that the events will now fly faster, and the repercussions for everything you think, do, or say, or fail to do, think, or say, positive and negative, will both be stronger and quicker. To accept the eagle as a totem is to accept a powerful new dimension to life and a heightened responsibility for your spiritual growth. But only through doing so do you learn how to move between worlds, touch all life with healing, and become the mediator and the bearer of new creative force within the world.
I feel like I'm plugged into electricity. Just so many chills. Oh my God, I'm going to get that book right away. And such a timely message, really, even astrologically, the transits that we're going through, that's exactly it. So I feel the message is not only for you, but really for whoever will be guided to this transition. Yeah. Such a high text.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It really, really is. I highly recommend that. The numerology is nice too. If you're into numbers, I can coach you on that as well. Anybody that's interested. I love numbers. I'm an MBA, so I really speak the numbers language, and it's all been validated through another book that I use a lot, the numerology book. So I can do numerology readings if that resonates as well. But yeah, beautiful stuff. Very exciting. Different times upon us, but I say hang in there. There's some big planetary shifts happening in the next couple months. Things will change. Just stay true to yourself, take care of yourself, and let the rest just hang in there. That's what I say. Mm-hmm.
My current spirit animal is owl. We went to the beach about 2 or 3 weeks ago looking for shells. Beach we haven't been to before. Most beautiful place. And I found, instead of a shell, I found this owl.
Oh, there's an owl behind Lisa too.
And then there is one behind you. Yeah. Oh
my gosh.
And last weekend we went away for the weekend with the family, and there was an opportunity to have a presentation about different owls and hold them, live owls. I think 14 different types. I learned so much, so many different perks. So I think there's really something to it. And the spirit animals change over time. I've had so many different ones previously. They come through dreams, they come through everyday experience. Ursula, do you have one at the moment that you're aware of?
Yeah, it's the hummingbird.
Yeah.
But
they're beautiful.
Isn't Pallas Athena aligned with the owl? So this female.
She is, and the snake.
Warrior goddess. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. The owl and the snake. Absolutely, she is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's the feminine, deep mysteries, and it's time to come forward, up from the dark. And I love, Julia, now that you're with Astrology Hub teaching, it's just great to see all these connections of the planets, the asteroids, the galactic fixed stars. It's time now. And Lisa, meeting you, your mind is brilliant, your heart is passionate. And with this eagle, it just feels to me like leadership. It's you're stepping in and saying, yes, it's time. It's for your family and it's for your soul tribe.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
I do, because it's just me. That eagle is not just for me. It's absolutely for anybody that, not to bring it up, but to bring it up, trauma. Anybody that has survived trauma, that is feeling like they're not quite in balance because of trauma. You can get through this. And men in particular, I've had some cases where men who have typically been programmed to be a certain way about talking and revealing emotions. There's been a lot of men impacted by early childhood trauma. And I have a big theme in my chart about ancestral trauma. And I have trauma that goes back 6 generations in my family that I know of. It's not your fault. The eagle, let that help you have the courage to take the steps to take care of yourself and to find people who will love you and listen to you for you. It's really important.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to bring in the story that I heard, I believe Matthias de Stefano sharing at some point, that with certain souls, they carry so much divine light. It's such a powerhouse. Certain souls are, I believe we all are at some level, but before coming to Earth, some of them are at the stage of consciousness where they really need solid, heavy anchor in order for them to survive in the physical body. So these are the ones that shoot into the deepest, darkest, heaviest family lineages that are an actual balance for the extreme light that is coming through their being. So they're able for it. And once you realize where you really come from, which galactic astrology can bring so much validation to someone when you see black and white written in your chart that you are connected to stars, to cosmos. Once you acknowledge it, reclaim your light, it'll just blast the darkness of trauma, of conditioning, limitations of the DNA, and suddenly you're free. And it's a ripple effect that it goes to many generations back and forth. So it's such a blessing for us to be doing this work and help people remember and reclaim their amazingness.
You're a blessing.
In a most humble way. I have to say, in a most humble way and responsible way, not the ego right kind of way.
Absolutely key, because when you are coming from that space, it's not about how can I build an empire and get rich. It's not even. It's not even. So definitely. And you've taught me a lot about that, Julia, the way you presented the course, and for you to have put all this together for me to be able to get certified. I can't thank you enough. I feel eternally grateful for that. So thank you.
My pleasure. I'm inspired by the powerhouse soul energy that you carry. And I can't wait for people to connect with you and rise and shine.
So amazing. So amazing. If I could just add one last thought too, it's that eagle with the bigger vision. So it is courage, it is leadership, it is heart, but it's this bigger vision, Lisa, that I believe you carry. It's obvious to me that you can see things and know things based on what you've picked up. You know what it's like to be a single mom. You know what it's like to come from this dark ancestral trauma. You know what it's like to work in the corporate world where it's really dog eat dog a lot of times. It's like, how do you navigate all that? Then to come out on the other end now with younger children still in the home with perhaps special needs, it's like, okay, it's just it's using all the skills and gifts you've been given. Why? For your soul to expand. And you sure took on a lot, Lisa. So if anyone listening would like to have a session with Lisa Brady, by donation at present time, feel free to check out her website that Julia will list below. We just thank you. Thank you. My heart is just full. It's full in gratitude. Like you said, Lisa, Julia is such a gift, especially when she says healing. Feel the healing. It's like you do the ancestral womb healing, bring the blessing, right? Yes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, the gifts that are in that course alone, beautiful. I mean, we could go on and on. Good job, Julia. Good job, Ursula. Good job, Lisa. Good job, all of us. We're getting through it.
And onward, right?
Super well done. Way. Congratulations. So much to offer.
Congratulations.
So excited.
Thank you very much.
Till next time.
Much love.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Ha 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 ha!